delivering a student government that listens to all, that works for all, and most importantly, nobody feels left out.
Thank you. Mine's much longer. I have a lot to say, per usual. So, hi everyone. I don't know, we have some new people, so I don't know if we've officially met yet, but my name is Katherine Slough. I'm a political science major, junior from Pennsylvania. I have served 3 years in SGA. Currently, I'm the vice president of External Affairs, which I was elected to last spring. And then I have started in SGA in September of my freshman year. I won the position of Student Affairs Senator through a campaign advocating on sustainability, inclusion, campus safety, and increased dining hall access, and my platform has not changed over the past 3 years. The only thing that has changed is my experience with those issues. I've cultivated a strong relationship with dining, as we saw with the Henwich, where they gave us all that stuff for free, and been able to better advocate for the student voice through RSO outreach in my current position. As a sophomore, I was appointed to be a programming senator, which is where I started gaining experience to do what I do now, like plan SGA week. And from my very first semester, I had been heavily involved winning, sorry guys, I'm called to say it, I write it down. I heavily involved winning awards for going outside of my position and exceptional leadership. I believe in a student government that is a safe place and a well-oiled machine. Through military training with ROTC and then over this summer, I have a very direct leadership style, hence why the external branch has pumped out so much information, graphics, and events, which has revolutionized the external branch. This is the first year we are using programming senators to reach out to RSOs. I don't know if you guys know we've been doing that, but planning tabling events and with UDAN's and HTAC, shout out HTAC. Previously, the external branch had not done that. That was something that Cabinet decided was for our better interest. And because of that, External has reached out to over 50 RSOs and counting, primarily multicultural women's groups. I rely on loyalty, accountability, and honesty, and that's how I would act as president. I have been an actively engaged member since I joined as a freshman. I show up early and I stay late. You've all seen me in the SJ office. I'm always easily accessible, whatever. And I've worked on so much legislation, especially in my first 2 years, over 5 pieces of legislation, and I know the ins and outs of how the student government should be properly functioned, and I would continue to do that. I plan on continuing a relationship with Newark, especially with the police captains, to further the collective effort that we've all made to make UD a safer place, and I cannot wait to see how we continue to grow with that. For outside credentials, because I personally believe that we all individually really well represent the entire student body. So I'm a member of Greek Life, which according to the FSLL represents 27% of the student body, and then I'm also a member of Air Force ROTC with all of the military associated students. That's over 300 students on campus. And then I'm also a social media ambassador, which is why UD, the main UD, has been posting our Instagram and our information so much more regularly, because I have those contacts. I also am constantly trying to meet new students and professors and build those relationships. I am a student, a leader, a cadet, and a hard worker, and then I have all of your best interests at heart. And I never dreamed of having this position, but I'm so humbled at the opportunity, and I hope to do my best daily to represent each one of you and make UD feel like home.
Okay, thank you. So what is the core mission of your campaign, and how does it reflect the needs of the student body today?
So my core mission is like more willingness to have a respectful communication between SGA and its member. Currently, we don't have a system like where you can like criticize one another. I believe like each and every resolution, each and every bills, it does not have to be like asked what's that purpose for, but I think it should have a proper ground, proper platform for criticization. I want to make SGA more external than of an internal stuff. Currently, like, I mean, we are giving all of this in Instagram, but Instagram should not be a main platform for SGA to reach out to students, I believe. And I also believe that we should distribute more powers through SGA branches, encouraging mentorship of branch leaders and veteran members like who were in SGA before. So like taking advice from those, working with those like who were in SGA before and who will be in SGA. And I also like want to have some detailed policies regarding sustainable and campus safety, community engagement, transparency, and accountability. And most importantly, transparency is like my #1 purpose, which SGA is currently lacking in. Most of our student body doesn't know what SGA is working with, what we are planning to do. I mean, 40 student can't decide the future of 20,000. We need to take more opinions. We need to let them know what we want to do, if even they are interested in it or not. So that's one of my core mission, and most importantly, I want to like embrace diversity, equity, and inclusion. So like it prepares our university to lead in an increasingly diverse and interconnected world. Not only that, I want to make sure that everybody has a fair access to each and every resource. And equity is not about giving some student more, it's making sure that everybody has what they need to reach the same finish line. And I want to make sure that we have like that ability so that SGA can also like work so that we can increase access to tutoring, mental health support, and mentorship.
Is lacking. That's something that I also want to work on. That's why we made the SGA week video. I've been trying that this entire semester to get more people to know what SGA is doing. That's why I've worked so diligently to get tables out there and SGA week become such a big thing. I hope that we can continue to put graphics and information on the TVs, because I understand that students are not looking at our social medias just by me seeing that every day. So hopefully the TVs and other flyers and posters and things like that will continue to be pushed out. Another huge thing with me is sustainability. My very first resolution when I was a freshman was regarding sustainability, and that was passed, but then never escalated, and I realized that that was a failure on myself and something that I can look back on and think that we need to continue to build on. And I think Jill has done such a wonderful job continuing to build that and build that culture within SGA, because there's so many resolutions that have already been passed with sustainability, and we just need to continue to push that through, especially with recycling education, because we lack so heavily with that on this campus. Another way that I wanted to work with transparency was with athletics, and because athletics had reached out to us earlier in the semester about promoting a video of SGA at like the basketball games and football games. That's why another reason we created the SGA video, so that athletics could take it. Another huge thing for me is campus safety. I think the police walk that Brianna put on was so phenomenal, and just having more of a strong relationship with the police captains in general is so beneficial, especially because there's been increased activity with school shootings on college campuses. And I would like to say that half of you probably do not know UD's safety around that. We were not really taught that, and the students were not really taught that as freshmen. We don't know it as upperclassmen. So I think we need to continue to work with the police to educate students, create graphics, maybe do tests. We all did drills in high school. We can't conduct a drill at a college level, but maybe in the summers when students are here, turning the alarms on and making sure that we know that the alarms work and like how the doors are closing.
What past experience best prepares you for this role, and how have you demonstrated leadership under pressure?
So for me, I was the student affairs senator. I was elected as a student affairs senator back in 2023, and then I got like treasurer in the cabinet. Not only that, besides like SGA, I'm also involved in the campus very much. I'm a TA for leadership 200 classes, where I like to prepare the student for the next generation leadership work, and more importantly, to be a global leader. I'm also gonna be an RA in the upcoming semester. I'm on the orientation leader for the 2025 academic year, where I'm gonna address the upcoming students to make them prepare for UD, so that they don't feel like UD is something that they don't want to be. I need to make them feel like UD is the place they want to be, and it's their second home. And not only that, speaking of leadership, I had like past experience in politics back from my home country. I was very much involved in like local politics, especially like local government election. I even helped in the local government election, national election, the past national election that happened in our country. Not only that, I also have experience on high school leadership. I was the student government president back in my high school also. So like I have experience from that, and for my leadership thing, I mainly prioritize like working with everyone. For me, I believe leadership is not something that can be done alone. For me, it should be with everyone's support, and leadership is something that we shouldn't hoard. We should like distribute the power among others. We need to be that guiding light. At the same time, we need to make sure that everybody is on the same page, and that's what I wanted to do. And my leadership experience like would help me to do that. And most importantly, I want to like address, because like I have worked with like general public and like general student, so I know what they feel like. I know what's in their mind. So I want to like use that experience in SGA and make a better SGA than before.
I'm so sorry, can you repeat the question?
Yes, of course.
I try to take up leadership roles wherever I am because I want to get my hands on things and I want to lead other people and lead other people to meet their potential and exceed their potential. Specifically, I'll talk about two different situations. So with ROTC and then also with student government, I've held so many leadership roles within ROTC because it's constantly getting you to change and build those leadership skills. So my very first semester in like a leadership position was last semester with ROTC, and that's where I was the wing inspector general, just kind of making sure the wing was running smoothly, and that was over 45 cadets, so I know how to like actively interact with all of you and keep track of what you're doing individually because it's your individual success that helps SGA meet its mission. And then through ROTC, I've gotten so much feedback that's made me rethink how I need to interact with people and made me really realize that I need to hear other people's feedback and take that into consideration, especially with delegating tasks, so you're all more than capable and willing to help with the student body. And then I think the biggest leadership experience that I have through SGA is with the SGA weeks, and then also reorganizing the external branch, because last fall, Bella told me that we were going to restructure external and make and give the programmers different jobs. So it's been so much of a learning curve and learning under the pressure of our advisors to figure out how to do better RSL outreach, and I really hope to see that continue to flourish. And SGA week, my sophomore semester, and then also last fall, I did almost entirely by myself, which I was not expecting to have to do. The old vice president of external kind of left SGA for a little bit, and I had to take up a lot of those roles, but I went into it smoothly, and we've had a couple good SGA weeks, or at least I think so. I also have experience with the student government in high school. I've had 4 years of student government experience, working on the student executive board, kind of doing what I've been doing. Yeah.
And outside of our organization, have you been able to make that has led you to want to become president and think you would be a good fit for president?
So for me, I work with the Office of Equity, Diversity and Inclusion for the BID implementation that I have done in 2023. I have worked with the Office of Academic and Transition Program, where I help the new students, incoming students, to get adjusted to the UD environment. I have worked with the UD Board of Allocation because of me being in the treasurer. I have worked with the Office of Board of Trustees for the different executive meetings that I have attended, and I have worked with the student life for RA and TA purpose. I have also worked with the international department. I'm the board member of the International Advisory Committee. I have like connection with the CGPS, and they can also like help us a lot in promoting our SGA more. And I have also worked with ELI, the English Language Institute, where it handles the UD global stuff. So, yep. UD, the Office of Academy and Transition Program, because like they are the main face of UD currently, and especially UD Global, because we are an international university. We need to reach the global out platform more, and I believe like this kind of connection would help me a lot in becoming the president and like making sure that SGA runs better, and most importantly in a symmetrical way that it has been running.
All of the connections that I have made are the ones directly impacting my platform. So primarily with social media and transparency, I know the administrators who are in charge of pushing out all the graphics information for like the overall student body, and I've learned so much from them and want to continue to learn and use their tactics to spread SGA's information. And that's how I would like to combat transparency. And then additionally with sustainability, I sat on the sustainability committee as a freshman, and have since then, I know those advisors but have not been as involved. And then particularly with dining, I continue to make strong relationships with dining and have been in meetings with them for many years, and I would like to continue that as president. And then I really think that my strength is not alone. I of course have outreach, I have ROTC and Greek life, but that's not everything, and no person can be connected to every single branch on campus. So I know that each one of your contacts and who you know is what's going to make SGA strong. So I think, of course, I know how to talk to administrators, but it's really all of you who are passing. I would be helping with legislation, but you are coming up with the ideas of passing legislation, so those contacts as well are extremely important.
Your leadership represents all students, including marginalized and unrepresented communities on campus.
So for me, like, as I told you in my first opening statement, diversity, equity, and inclusion is like one of my #1 priority, because it's not a moral imperative, but as a career advantage. Because by embracing DEI, our university better prepare us, all of us, to lead in an increasingly diverse and interconnected world. Because this is not something political, this is practical, and this is professional. And if we don't embrace diversity, our university can move forward. Like, we need people from different minds, different background. Each and everyone have different idea, and that's what I believe. And for the future, we are targeting. We are now the global university, so we need diversity. And most importantly, I'm pushing for like the giving each and everybody the equal opportunities to reach the same finish line that we are targeting. And not only that, that's why I'm fighting for like strong mental health support, expanded access to tutoring, peer mentorship programs, especially for the first generation students who often navigate college without a map. So that's my policy. And I'm also like planning to launch a campus-wide mentorship program for the underrepresented students. And I will host quarterly open forums on campus climate where students can speak and like administrator can listen. And not only that, I will work with the accessibility service to audit and improve accommodation for the student with disabilities, because equity must include everyone.
I completely agree with how the diversity is so important on this campus, and we are such a diverse campus compared to other schools. Like, we really are so strong because of that, and that's why I made it my mission through External with reaching out to multicultural RSOs and women's RSOs, because we wanted to know what they wanted help with first, to see how we could directly impact them. And I think a different way to handle diversity is not just within UD's campus, but with our other campuses. I personally feel that we have failed our senators at the Dover and Wilmington campuses, like our other satellite schools, where they have student body representatives, but we're not actively engaged with them. So we don't have enough experience at those campuses. And as president, I would like to actually build relationships with those senators and try to get them more involved, meeting with them personally. I would be totally comfortable driving to those schools and meeting the senators, going to their fairs, because they have fairs like the RSO nights like we do. And then there's a huge gap between students who are at the AAP campuses and then coming here. They aren't really being mentored like they should be when reaching UD. And I feel like SGA should also be a platform for them and to help them assimilate to Newark's campus.
What the student government is doing throughout your term.
So for me, I told you, SGA cannot remain internal. It needs to be external. Too often, like, SGA acts as a silo. We are too much disconnected with our student body. Especially like under my leadership, we will prioritize like external outreach, bringing students the conversation. I plan to make SGA meeting public, so that like anybody can come to us to our meeting, raise their concern, share their ideas. Not only that, we will work with administrator and campus partners so that like we can make sure that the student concerns are heard, they are properly heard. And transparency for me means more than posting on Instagram, because it means opening up the process, bringing about the challenge and like welcoming feedback even when it's critical. We need the feedback from the student. Currently, we don't have any platform so that like student can give feedback to us. And not only that, even if you're like we are promoting social media that much, we know that if we care about student wellness, we cannot ignore the negative effect of the social media on mental health, especially like Instagram or like platform like TikTok and everything. They have like proven record of like impacting our mental health, and we cannot like ignore that fact. So we need to diversify our channel of communication. We need to like include town halls. We need to like make some kind of like forums, or like at least make a public SGA tracker where anybody can go and like look what we are working on, what our resolution is. It shouldn't be limited to our SGA cabinet or SGA Senate. And not only that, we shouldn't solely like depend on the platforms that harms the very student we are trying to help. So.
So all our resolutions are posted on the website, which is actively updated. I also agree that social media has negative connotations. However, emails are not working. Like, how many people are getting emails from VP Jose that they're not reading? That's why we have to have this an entire event from SGA Week, because people aren't looking at what we have to send out. So we really do need to figure out other avenues to how to promote what we're doing so students are interested. Mass emails clearly are not working. That's probably why academic affairs senators, some of you are here now, but also people coming in later, will need to really be more of an active voice for their college, not just when they're in here writing resolutions, but sending that information back out. Each college has a communication coordinator that person should be actively communicating with and sending out information through, and that's how we would get students to actually look at what we need them to look at, because the student life emails get so easily lost. I also think that a forum would be extremely important. I know there has already been resolutions passed that we kind of started to talk about this, but SGA meetings are open to the public. We always promote them as such, especially when we're at tabling events. Like that huge sign we bring out says, "Join us. We want you there. You don't just have to be a senator." And I would like to institute maybe once a month to see how it starts, like 5 minutes at the beginning of each meeting, just so students can talk to the entire student body if they have an issue. That's also why the SGA office is there. It's highly publicized, at least down in there. We're always in there. The door should always be open so students know that we are there for them, because I don't know how much more social media is gonna get, of all kinds, website, whatever, to get people to actually know what we're doing. It really has to be like word of mouth communication.
What specific change do you want to be remembered for if elected?
So for me, like, my number one change that I want to bring is like communication between SGA and the student body. We lack those, especially like even if there is a tracker for it, we are not like promoting those enough. We need to host like public events, not just SGA events like for SGA week. We need to arrange events at least once a month, so that like students know what we are working with. It can be a small event at the break, so that like student can at least come to us. We need to make sure that the student know we are here for them. Yeah, the office is there, but the office doesn't have a proper office hours. Nobody is there for all the time. Suppose a student come and the office, there is no one in the office, then how can they come talk to us, right? For me, I'm gonna change that. I'm gonna make sure that each and everyone have a time slot in each and every time, at least from 10 to 6 time, so that like anybody can come during that hour and meet a senator or a cabinet member. Not only that, I want to make SGA more external than of an internal. Currently, even though we have a social media platform, like we only have 1,900 something followers on the Instagram, even that is not helping. We have almost 20,000 students over here. That alone is less than 10%. So like we are not even reaching the 10%, 50% of our students. Or whatever 50%, we are not even reaching 20% of our students. So how that even works? I will change that. And another thing is I will invest in transparency more. I will make sure that even before a resolution gets passed, the student can know what we are working with. We need to make sure that we gather opinions from the student. If we are passing this resolution without asking any opinion from the student, then what's it?
Senators do represent each part of campus. Like, they are representing their peers, they're representing students. They're not just here to represent themselves. They all know they have more on their shoulders than just themselves and their own thoughts, and they should be constantly taking that into account. To go off of that and then to answer the question, I think that tabling events on the green have been so successful. We've gotten so many people to know what SGA does. If you attend the events, then you know that people are there and wanting to talk to us because they want to know. Like, and the best way to do that is through direct communication. And I would like to be remembered for UD's safety, because I think it is extremely, extremely lacking. We have a safe campus. Like, I feel safe on campus. I don't know how everybody else feels, but with specific safety procedures in buildings, I don't think there's enough education on that, as well as the systems and what I've talked about before. So to continue to build that relationship with the police and having like a direct impact like that, like if students one day realize that they were taught the safety procedures, that is an impact. It's not just like a concrete like idea of transparency, because students are not always interested in what we have to do and we can't force it down their throats. Like you're telling your friends and we're posting on social media and we're talking it out loud to people who want to hear about it. Not everyone is that interested, but they are interested in safety.
For fun, what has been your favorite memory from SGA from your time here?
For me, it would be my bid resolution, because I had to work with a lot of like administrator for that. It took me almost like 3 months to get that passed, because like none of the like board of trustees of the finance board was ready to invest in it. It's a expensive project and they were not sure like how many people are going to benefit from it. So I had to like make them understand, no, we are targeting global audience, so like we need to diversify it, we need to include this. It can be a great part of our promotion, and it was fun.
I think mine was compiling all the information to make the plaques for the dining halls. Like something I came in with SGA wanting to do is like actually promote what we're doing, like get our name. Our name is on the bike pumps, but our name should be on like men's female hygiene products that are in the student centers that we got put there. Like our name should be on all of that stuff. And my first step in accomplishing that was getting plaques put up in the dining halls that had all the resolutions that SGA had directly impacted in the dining hall. So the extended meal exchange hours, like the late night at Perkins, or late night at Russell. Sorry guys, haven't been there in a while. But working with dining and also looking through like all the old resolutions and then seeing like the concrete implementation of what SGA is doing for the entire student body to see was